Okay, all right. Look, Evans Mensah and Mama V have been doing some fantastic work since this morning, letting you understand what exactly is happening all throughout this country, Ghana. We'll continue with that, bringing you the latest information from all the polling stations across the length and breadth of this country. Trust Joe News. We have eyes everywhere to help you know what exactly is happening in this election. I'll take you to Kumasi again, where my colleagues are on standby to bring us what exactly is happening from Studio 995 there. Eugene, what can you tell us more from Kumasi, and let's know what's happening within the region as well?
And like we did last night from the election headquarters here in Kumasi, where we call the Studio 995 Kumasi. Well, we are ready for action today because Ghanaians are going to the polls. And we have our panel already seated here. Dr. Ali Nyaba, he's with the History and Political Studies Department, KNUST. He was with us last night during our election eve coverage. Doc, tell me, how did it go for you last night? The first time ever from Kumasi. How did it go for you, the experience?
Yes, it was nice to have the opportunity to give a picture of what's happening in Kumasi. But personally, I am not too anxious because this is about my 8th elections, and it's not new to me, so it was normal.
One key thing on the minds of many Ghanaians has to do with a peaceful election. We've done fine ever since we started voting, except for last year where some lives were lost. Now, from where you sit, would you say that enough has been done to ensure a peaceful election this year?
I hope so. I hope so, because the experiences we have had over the years is enough grounds for us to have learned to do better. And I told you, at least let's start from 2000. The kind of incidences that happened in Kumasi in 2000, maybe 2004 or 2008, as the years go by or the elections come by after those three, the incidents of stealing ballot boxes and other things had reduced drastically. The young men and women who are usually hired to do these things have learned lessons from the past. And if you speak to them on the grounds, they tell you that these politicians will use you and will not even take care of you if you get yourself into trouble, especially when it has to do with health issues that can even get you deformed. So we've learned a lot of lessons that it is not too easy to get people to do the kind of things that people did when we started this whole exercise of elections, that go and pick a ballot box and run away with a motorbike and all those stuff. So we've come so far. The security agencies are doing their part. We can't say what they are excellent in what they are doing, but I think we as citizens have learned enough lessons from previous elections, and then we are doing better as the years go by. I expect Kumasi to be, or Ashanti region in general, to be generally calm, and then everybody will go and then vote, go home, and then just wait for whoever will win.
What we've been told is that we're not going to have the military at polling stations this time around. They'll be on standby. If they are needed, they'll be called upon. What do you make of that decision?
I think it's a good thing. Usually, because of our orientation with the military, they create a lot of tension when they are around. Some people may not even go to the centers because they will say, "Yes, please, yes, soldier for." That's an unusual scene. So I think it's a good thing. They are on standby. That means they are at very vantage points that at any point in time where the police who have the core mandate to take care of security at the various polling stations are unable to handle issues, they will be called in to do what is needful.
Well, also with us as a panel is Dr. Amache Boateng with the History and Political Studies Department, also at the KNUST. Dr. Amache Boateng, what are your expectations? Ghanaians are at the polls, going to the polls to vote today. What are your expectations?
David, thanks for inviting us to participate in this exercise. My expectations are that people will go. This is not the first time Ghana is going to the polls. We should be used to it at this time. I expect people to go out to vote. There's one thing that we should really make mention of and possibly commend the EC. The creation of several polling stations.
And in the Ashanti region, if I may just add, we have about 7,048 polling stations in the Ashanti region.
It makes the exercise calm, cool, less stressful. You wouldn't be, in the queue for a long time. So I expect people to go and vote, go home. I think a lot of things have been said, and people know, or people must know their responsibility as far as these elections are concerned. So that is what I expect. I expect that in the evenings, the results will begin to trickle in. Eventually, a winner will be declared. Ghana has been there before. We've gone through what we call political turnover 3 times. It will not be a new thing, if something like that happens, or if Dr. Bawumia, the MPP, retains the seat. But whatever it is, a winner will be declared. I don't expect any life to be lost, David. I don't expect a strand of somebody's hair to tear for the sake of these elections. It should not happen. It shouldn't. It shouldn't for any reason. Live bullets should not be used on any human being at an election, in an election exercise. It shouldn't. No matter the provocation, it shouldn't. Unless somebody comes there armed. In the absence of that, I have great difficulty coming to terms with any such thing happening. So I expect smooth elections. I expect that things will really unfold as it should. We will get a winner at the end of the day. Ghana will maintain its peace. Talking about peace, David, briefly, let me just relate to this. The assumption is that peace already exists. And it's up to society to either keep it or to do something that will disturb the peace. So already Ghanaians, I think we have been living peacefully and we enjoy it. It's a major commodity that we shouldn't take for granted. And I think we would all like to keep it. So yes, I'm looking forward to peaceful elections.
Last night we shared some key constituencies that we need to keep an eye on, on our smart wall. And today we'll continue with some more interesting constituencies that we need to watch. But, Dr. Ali, when Dr. Amachi was speaking, he made mention of the fact that the results will start trickling in late afternoon, getting into the evening and all that. Yesterday, you and I had a very interesting conversation on the side. And you were saying that over the years, all the elections that we've been able to, conduct successfully, we should be able to declare results within 12 hours. Explain that to our audience.
Yes, I feel that as we do this thing for some time, we should learn the things that brings us trouble and or peace. So anxiety for a very long time is one of the things that create the tensions. The political parties organize press conferences to say they are in a comfortable lead. So the EC should, as a matter of fact, have strategized in a manner to see how it is realistically feasible to declare the results in the shortest possible time. I am not so strict on giving timelines because you have to go to the field, test the situations, even before the elections, during other elections. Then you look at a very realistic timeline that you can declare the results in the earliest possible time that will reduce the kind of anxiety that leads to tension after the elections is done. So I'll be very disappointed if we keep on repeating the same mistakes that we have done over the years to keep us anxious for a very long time.
But do you think we are there yet? Do you hope that we'll be able to declare results within 12 hours in this year's elections?
I will not pretend to be an expert, but I think the age that we are, the era that we are, it's a time that we can utilize the resources, the digital resources that we have in a manner that will allow us to declare results in a very realistic but yet a very good time that will reduce anxiety among spectators and then the political parties as well.
Dr. Amachi, do you agree with what he's saying, that we should be able to declare results within 12 hours?
I do agree with him. And actually, I believe that, I have to look at the question. I mean, the question you asked, Dr. Ali, and relate to it in a straightforward, matter-of-fact manner. We are there. We are there. One, the technology is there. We are not going to have to reinvent the wheel. All we need to do is to appropriate them. We have human resource here in Ghana trained that excel when they work in other jurisdictions. We are here and we are ready with our knowledge and understanding of these issues. It should be possible for us to deliver in the timeline suggested by Dr.
We have our correspondents on the grounds. We'll be engaging with them shortly. They'll be telling us what is happening, where they are. And like I mentioned, we have about 7,048 polling stations in the Ashanti region. Our correspondents are all over, and they're bringing us up to speed as to what is happening on the ground. But like I mentioned yesterday, we started with a general overview of what to expect in the Ashanti region. Then we zoomed in into some key constituencies. Now, one of the key constituencies to watch this year is our Swansea constituency. Now, since 2005, when Muntaka Mohammed took over as Member of Parliament, he's been doing quite well. Except for the last elections in 2020, where he did very well for himself as a parliamentary candidate, but the presidential candidate didn't do too much well in terms of the results he chalked for himself. Eugene Osetutu is a man who does all these analysis. He understands what the figures looks like. Eugene, good morning to you. And you tell us, how key is the Swansea constituency in this year's elections? What are the figures looking like there in the previous elections, and what are we expecting in this year's elections?
Well, David, the Swansea constituency is very key. As we know, this is the constituency of the former minority chief whip, that is Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, who's been the Member of Parliament for the last 19 years. He came on the scene in 2005 when he won the by-election against the now Deputy Majority Leader and MP for Asokwa, Patricia Page, affectionately called Mama Pat, in Ashanti region. Now, Muntaka has shown formidability when you study his political journey in Asawase. He's one of 9,000, he's one of 12,000, he's one of 11,000. But in 2016, when Ali Disedu contested him, he was able to reduce the margin to 6,000. Ali Disedu garnered some 33,000, whilst Muntaka garnered 39,000. So people felt that when Ali Disedu is resourced and he's given a little bit of push, he can win the seat for the MPP. He was made the MC for the area, went into the contest of 2020, then Muntaka showed his formidability and increased the gap to 20,400. That clearly tells you the formidability. Now, in your introduction, you made mention of how popular he is compared to John Dramani Mahama. When you look at the increases, when you compare his 2016 results to 2020, both presidential and parliamentary, you notice that John Mahama increased by just about 3 percentage points, whilst Muntaka increased by almost 10 percentage points. So it tells you that when you go to the Swansea constituency, Muntaka is quite popular compared to John Dramani Mahama. So that's some characteristic there. Many people feel that Manaf is a young guy. He just like when Muntaka came on the scene in 2005 in his mid-30s. He's been a political aide, worked with the vice president, now flag bearer of the MPP. He had some issues with the Ashanti MPP, where he was, disqualified for contesting in the 2020 primaries. He's now back to the fore. Many people feel that euphoria, that youthfulness, that exuberance that is bringing, and also the MPP investing a lot of resources in the constituency, they feel that he can topple the seat. But David, if I'm just moving you to my screen, to the Ashanti region, you can see that the Swansea constituency is very interesting, where it is located in a cluster of constituencies dominated by the MPP. For example, the Menchia North constituency, the Menchia South constituency, the Subin constituency, the Jesso constituency. And for all these years, Muntaka Mubarak has managed to hold the seat, and now is going into this election with a gap of 20,400.
Right, we'll come back to Studio 995 Kumasi, but for now, I have to go back to Accra. Kojo Brace is on standby in the Joy News studios. Kojo Brace, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Team Kumasi from Studio 995, for that wonderful work that you've done there. We'll keep an eye, because Ashanti region is a critical region to look at. You have the Ashanti region, you look at the Greater Accra region, Central region, Volta region, you look at the Eastern region as well. So we'll be touching base with Studio 995 to really understand what's happening there. We'll now also take you across the country to then understand, after these hours of voting started at 7. Now, if you look at the time that we're doing about 3 hours of voting. So after 3 hours, what is the situation like in all of these polling stations? We'll be taking you around so that you can have a feel of how the elections are going. Let me remind you that we'll also take you to the strong room as well for you to understand what's happening there. We'll take you to Studio 9972. We'll also take you to the EC headquarters for you to understand what's happening. So like I told you, we have eyes and ears everywhere for you in this election. So we will... All right, so let's take you to the Electoral Commission headquarters now, where some actions are happening, and join the feed coming in from the Electoral Commission.
Directors of the headquarters with us. I'd like to invite to the podium Reverend Ikuya Oforiboatin to give us an opening prayer. Reverend.
Good morning. Let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. This is the day that you have made, the day that you ordained before time that we should go to the polls, and we rejoice and we are glad in this day. Heavenly Father, we lift up our nation before you. We pray that your Holy Spirit will pour out upon us, that the Prince of Peace will stand tall in this nation. We commit our elections into your hands, Father. Take over these elections, Father. Take over all the polling stations, all those who are working for the Electoral Commission, all candidates, the media. Father, the gift that you have given to each of us to conduct elections, to run for positions, to tell the story, may we use this gift to glorify your name. May the words of all our mouths, the meditation of all our hearts be pleasing and acceptable unto you. O Lord, you are our strength and our Redeemer. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. At this point, I would like to call the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, the returning officer for presidential elections 2024, to give a brief remarks and welcome you to the National Coalition Center.
Is this working, or I have to use this? This is working. Okay. Good morning to all of you. A good morning to all of you, our distinguished media partners. Indeed, a good morning to all of you, our distinguished media partners. Indeed, to God alone be the glory. Great things he has done, and greater things he will do. We thank God for making this day possible. And as Reverend said, this is indeed the day that the Lord has made. We rejoice and we are glad in it. On behalf of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, I warmly welcome all of you, our media partners, and all Ghanaians listening to us in the comforts of their homes, to the National Coalition Center at the head office of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. This is a historic moment in our country, as this is the first time we are opening up our coalition center at the national level to our media partners. And we are doing this right from the start of the elections, which took place a few hours ago. As you are aware, all elections since the inception of the Fourth Republic in 1992, in all elections since the Fourth Republic, that is since 1992, the media have been granted access only when the declaration is being made at the National Coalition Center. And so in the past, although some media may have had access to our polling stations, it was only when the declaration was about to take place that the media were invited to the National Coalition Center. Today, this has changed. And Hence my discussion and my declaration that this is a historic moment. Going forward, as like today, the media will have access to all our centers across the country. As you are well aware, the Commission has today granted access to all our polling stations at all our constituency collation centers, all our regional collation centers, and our national collation center to the media. We have to date accredited some 10,000 media men and women to cover activities in the field. The media will have first-hand verified information on all aspects of our work. This is a testament of the values that the Commission holds dear. Values of transparency, values of accountability, values of integrity, values of inclusiveness, and values of responsiveness. We believe that by enabling our media partners to cover all aspects of our work, we will inject the needed transparency into all aspects of our work. This would provide the citizenry with vital information and help eliminate and reduce completely the suspicions that had hitherto characterized our work. Ultimately, we have no doubt that this would help to cement the peace and stability of our country. Our media partners, over the next 3 days, and to the citizens of Ghana, over the next 3 days, we will provide you with up-to-date situation reports and address the concerns of citizens. We are aware that you have your teams in the field, and so if there are any issues, we urge that you bring them up for the Commission to address those issues in a timely manner. In the spirit of responsiveness, we have a toll-free number that will be made available by our Deputy Chairman for Operations when he takes up the stage. And this is a number that has been put out in the media. We encourage our citizens to call that number. We have able men and women behind the telephones, and they are willing and ready to take any issues or concerns you have to enable us address this in a timely manner. We encourage you, the citizens of this nation, to walk this journey with us, a journey of transparency, a journey of responsiveness, a journey of accountability to you, the citizenry, and a journey of inclusiveness. We are keen to ensure that we include you in all aspects of our work, and that any interested citizen will, in the comfort of their homes, be able to follow our processes. You are our stakeholders, and it is in that spirit that we provide you with the details and all aspects of our work. We thank the good Lord for what he has started. Indeed, reports reaching us indicate that the elections are proceeding well across the length and breadth of this country. And we are confident that the good Lord who has started this process, this good process, will bring it to a good and expected end. In Jesus' name, amen. We declare the National Collation Center opened in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. We thank all of you. May God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make his beloved nation great and strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this point, the Deputy Chair in charge of operations will give us the first 3-hour update on the polling process. Thank you very much. Mr. Tete, you are welcome to the podium.
Good morning once again to you all. And on behalf of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who happens to be the returning officer for the 2024 presidential elections, the head office directors, and the entire staff of the commission, present to you the first briefing on the 2024 general elections. We all know that polls are expected to start at 7 and end at 5 p.m. Reports from the field indicates that as at 7 a.m., all polling centers, almost all polling centers, have opened across the nation. About 99% of all our polling stations have opened and working. With respect to our equipment, the main one, which is the biometric verification devices, almost all the devices were functioning perfectly, with the exception of 1 or 2 polling stations where we had reports of problem with starting the BVDs. However, we know that we have technicians who put those things or fix them. They quickly went there and rebooted BVDs. Apart from that, we also have spare BVDs. So in case a BVD is not able to start, we fall on the spare. So currently, as we are speaking, all the BVDs at the polling stations are effectively working. We also deployed all our election materials to the polling stations before the start of poll. All election materials were deployed to the polling stations before the start of polls. And all officials were also present at their polling stations. At each polling station, we have the presiding officer, we have the name reference list officer, the verification officer, the ballot issuer for the presidential, and the ballot issuer for the parliamentary. We have also noted that at all the polling stations, we have the presence of the security personnel. And you can also attest to the fact that this is one of the main reasons why we have very peaceful environment. We haven't actually had any reported incidents of either violence or quarreling or whatever. With respect to agents at the polling stations, the 2 main political parties have their agents at all the polling stations. However, the other parties either have some of them at some of the polling stations, others also not there. But we have agents on the average for Mr. Alan Chematin, Nana Kwame Bidiako, the LPG, we have the GCPP, and then the APC. We also have reported cases of the presence of election observers, both local and international. We have the IDEC, we also have CODIO, we have ECOWAS, we have the presence of the EU, as well as the Commonwealth. So basically, this is a brief report from the start of polls at 7 till this time. we'll give you the next update when the time is due. That's at 12 o'clock. Thank you. Yes, sorry. The toll-free number is 0800 324 324. I repeat, 0800 324 324. Thank you. So, voters can still check their names to find out where they are expected to vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Tete. At this point, we'd like to invite some few questions, maximum 5 questions, if you do have, for the Deputy Chair to respond.
Sí.
Check. Check. Media, any question? Please.
Now from the commissioner. Has she received any reported cases of the military being involved in the elections already? Because we have received reports that there are some men in uniform at some polling centers, and we do know for a fact that this is not allowed. Under whose purview does this fall, and then what's she going to do about it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Fauzuma Saudu. I work with CTFM and Channel 1 TV. I just want the commission to clarify really quickly, what are the arrangements the commission has made as regards the sitting distance of party agents to the polling station? Because I know, for instance, Kankwe Central, a pocket of chaotic incident nearly marred the process to a point where voting even had to grind to a halt. So I just want to find out really quickly, what are the arrangements, the distance between, and then because this is the first press, I thought the Electoral Commission would take this as an opportunity to also address concerns by the NDC about the exposure of some validating stamps by your staff. Thank you.
I am Araba Edu with GH1 TV, Star FM, EIB Network for short. Now, in the Wejagbawe constituency, we understand that parliamentary pick sheets are yet to arrive, delaying the commencement of voting. What does the EC have to say about that?
My name is Samuel Adoba. I work with TV Africa. A report coming from New Wejagbawe, which is polling station code and pre-sheet is different, which is Wejagbawe voting on hold now. Voting on hold, New Waja, over differences in polling station code and pre-sheet. I don't know whether the commission is aware of this issue.
Finally, on Mawina with TV3. I want to find out from the Commission what the directive on the use of indelible ink is, because I've visited some polling stations as at this morning where some voters did not use the indelible ink before they left the voting centers. It caused a cause for concern for others who were in the queue, why persons were not being allowed or insisting on the use of the indelible ink.
Thank you very much.
I find the issue of indelible ink difficult to believe, and I think that it's important that you provide the Commission with the actual place where this incident happened, the actual polling station where this incident happened, because indelible ink is very much part of our system, and so to ensure the accuracy of this information, it's important that you provide details. I would ask, I think I'll answer one more question, and that has to do with the presence of the military. That has not been brought to our attention. And it's important for all Ghanaians to know that the Electoral Commission of Ghana has one role, and that role is to conduct free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. Security is not part of our functions. And I think when you look at our laws, whether it is the CI 91, CI 127, and the Constitution of Ghana, you recognize that security is not part of our functions. And we do not know the security strategy of the security agencies. Granted, the Electoral Commission has a seat at the Election Security Task Force at the national, regional, and district levels, but it is limited to the provision of security agencies, policemen in our printing houses, working with us to transport the ballot papers to the armories, protecting our equipment in the armories, protecting our offices as well. But as to the deployment, who goes where and who is deployed, we are not privy to that. What we know is that on the National Election Security Task Force, and I believe this runs through, it is headed by the Inspector General of Police, but you have at the national level, you have the Director General of the Immigration, the head of the Customs, the head of the Fire Service, the head of the Army, the head of the Army, and I believe the head of the Immigration. And as the Electoral Commission also sits there. But we, as we mentioned, our involvement is really restricted to the movement of our activities, the protection of our installations by the police, the supervision or the observation of the printing, and so on and so forth. As to the security deployment, we are not aware, and we are not privy to it. So we would investigate these issues that you have made. It's important that when you make these, you raise these issues, you are very direct and you provide information as to where those things are. But in terms of security, we have no hand in it, and we do not make security arrangements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, the returning officer. So we have two other questions. The first one is the distance, the sitting distance. And I will not say that we have maybe 100 meters, 200 or 3. The rule is that the agents are to sit at a place where they can observe the process. It is only in this part, or let's say this place, that you have agents sitting on the neck of election officials. This should not be so. You find agents very close and then sitting on the neck. They don't even have a space to breathe. They are expected to sit at a distance that they can observe the process. Then this issue of exposure of some validating stamp. What we do is very simple. What is in the public domain is wrong. when we are packaging the election materials, we put them in an envelope and put it into the ballot box. It is only the indelible ink that we put into a rubber because of a possible what? Spillage. So the assertion that we have exposed validating sums is not correct. Then, which other question? Yes. Yeah, the wager Bawe, that one, it hasn't actually come to our attention. So we will investigate and then give you a report on it. Thank you. So, reports, yes, indicates that there hasn't been any delay. The issue is just a swap of the pink sheets for 2 polling stations. So it's just a matter of sending the swapped pink sheet to the correct what? Polling station. So it's just what? A swap. That is the update that we have. Thank you. So voting is still ongoing.
Thank you very much. As you've been told, we're going to give you 3 hourly updates on the voting process and how things are faring in the field. Our next press briefing will be at 12 noon. We'll follow it up with 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and then we'll end at 9 p.m. for today. So thank you, members of the press. You are welcome. Stay with us as we share the situation on the ground with voters and the Ghanaian public. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bringing you what has been happening at the Electoral Commission's headquarters, where the EC has been addressing issues that have come up in the 3 hours that voting has taken place. Like I told you earlier, our eyes and ears are everywhere, and we'll bringing you an update on what exactly happens. There's Asia Race to the Jubilee House here on the election headquarters. 3 hours of voting. What has been the occurrences on the field? Our reporters everywhere will be bringing that to you. But in studio, I have been joined by my brother, Benjamin Akakpo, and together we'll be bringing you whatever happens. Ben,
as we do it. In fact, we might as well shake hands off. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And this morning I've been out and about, and I am a very proud Ghanaian.
Yeah. Because,
you know why?
Because you've gone.
Do you see my pinky finger?
I see it.
Yes. I've been out and about, exercising my civic right, my patriotic right. I've voted for a presidential candidate. I've voted for a parliamentary candidate.
Okay.
And you know, when I went through town so far, I saw some visibility officials, you know, of the Ghana Police Service on their motorbikes going round. Where I vote, though I'm not going to mention, is pretty. it's a residential area and not too many people there. So when I went, it was pretty easy, though it still took some time. It was pretty easy to vote. But the point being that the turnout is high.
Okay.
Because in my center, there are two centers, A and B. Now for center A, it was around 470 plus. And as of the time I voted, because I had to be there pretty early, over 50 people had voted.
Wow.
So it tells you that people, the turnout,
which means that
the signals,
the center will be done even before 5.
I mean, it could be done by midday. If that turnout continues, it could be done by midday or one something there.
Interesting. Well, so Ben has voted, but you see, just as you voted, you've come to work, you're working. That's how it should be. But let's take you to ledzokuku, where we learned in the morning there was some bit of misunderstanding of a sort, and my colleague Papani Ashale has details.
4 voting stations here. It's become a little bit of understanding, scrapping up among some of the people, and some of them are unhappy about it, especially about the queue system that is being used here. And you can hear from the background the people shouting on top of their voices. People are unhappy about the fact that they have to endure hours in this simple queue with a lot of voting booths, but they are unable to get their opportunity to vote. Bossman, ina ga shi o mi efu wa mi ne wo.
O mi fu wo mi fu.
O ya so mi fu.
Si me ri o je na am be fast. Am am dili o am be fast. Ka me fast e ko be ne. Wo fe wo to si na am be fast no blow mo ba bi e.
So o ba bi e che.
Mba bi e che.
Na shim na me no mo ke bo ka ga so ba do mo bi a go ba do mo bi e. Agbene attack a queue line fe.
No me be na mi fi o le na na. Aje ko te bi aga e. Ni je pa ko ma school na ba ga e wa ga bi tu. No, me ya nation no my vote. Ni ma ference.
But come be na go ba we. Over the media na ga show. O bi so e kra.
Ai bi se ya bi e tente bi e lie ma ke mba bi enwe. La e ya. Na me class yen je me. Aminu ti un sha me fe but lo e wa ke ba yen o ba asha ni wo vote. Ni wo vote efite.
So o ba bi e che.
Ni ba bi e che papa.
Okay, so she's just been telling me that she's been here for some time now, and it only appears that the security personnel here are only calling one set of queues. So 2 queues actually, 2 of them. There's one to my right and one to my left here, but it only appears that one side of the queue seems to be moving faster than the other. So for those who are on the other side that are not getting the opportunity to exercise their franchise, I'm not happy about the situation. They say that you had a lady there tell me categorically that she may be forced to ditch this opportunity to exercise her franchise. She may just go home from here. But I mean, the personnel here are also trying very hard to try and bring the situation under control. They've been trying to explain to them in Tree, and these people speak Ghana, try to explain to them in Tree for them to understand that this is exactly what is happening, that there's a challenge inside for which is have to take that particular that decision. So I mean, people are scrambling, trying to exercise the franchise. They would have hoped that this would have been calmer, but that is not the situation now. So this man from the immigration and the other from the Ghana National Fire Service are trying very hard to try and control this raging crowd that are growing upset by the minute. But hopefully this will definitely die down. You don't understand what exactly?
They're supposed to choose 3 from here. What are they doing? They are choosing A. So I don't understand. They're supposed to choose 3 from here, 3 from here. Why?
Where are you?
I don't know where it is.
Leave there.
So I mean, for some people, this is becoming very upsetting. You can hear from his voice.
From here, 3 from here. Why?
Interesting. So we'll try and get to the presiding officer and try to get some reaction from him pretty shortly. But these 2 gentlemen from the security task force that have been stationed to this particular station, this is their old tertiary library, and they are trying their possible best to try and calm the situation down. I'll try to find the presiding officer here and hopefully try to get some response from him here. So, as we explained earlier, there are 2 different polling stations here. They have about 4 sets of them. They're using some alphabets, A, B, C, D, and then E. To the rest also continues from here, but it appears that it's been difficult for them to be able to get that going.
So that was the misunderstanding at Ledzokuku, where my colleague Papani actually is. And we'll bring you all the details from all the polling stations. Whatever happens, we'll bring that to you here. Let's take you to Nkwanta South as well, because there were some misunderstandings there. And our reporter on the ground is bringing us details.
You're going far. Let me tell you, you're going far. You're going far. You're going far. My brother, you're going far. You're going far. Ghana's not belong to you. Ghana's not belong to you. You're going far. You're going far. My brother, stop. You're going far. You're going far. I said you're going far.
So you know one is causing any panic.
You're going far.
We only complain to the society. That is not and they started attacking. No, he was insulting somebody. I didn't insult anybody. He was insulting somebody. I didn't insult anybody. And I want him. Hey, because I only complained to the presiding officer. I didn't complain to I only complained
My brother, you're going far. You're going far. Ghana's not belong to you. Ghana's not belong to you. You're going far. You're going far. My brother, stop. You're going far. You're going far. I said you're going far.
So you know one is causing any panic.
You're going far.
We only complain to the society. That is not and they started attacking.
So that is what happened in Nkwanta South, and we will, as I told you, be bringing you everything that happens. So we'll be keeping an eye on what happens in Nkwanta South there, as well as all the other areas. Let's take you to Gushegu now, because there was some incident there as well earlier in the day. Let's bring you details of that. All right, so let's bring in our reporter now, Abdullah, who is covering the Gushegu, constituency for us, and he joins us via Zoom now with details. Abdullah, so what more can you tell us about that particular incident that happened earlier in the day? Abdullah, if you can hear me, we saw that video and we understand that there was a bit of a misunderstanding there earlier in the day. We want you to run us through what exactly happened. Give us details of what happened. You are there. You saw it. So we'll bring in Abdullah, so we'll tell you more. But earlier, we brought you that particular video of the happening in Nkwanta South. That is in the OT region. If you look at it and you look at what happened in the presidential voting in 2020, the NDC, carried the day with some. Okay, so you see the video on your screen now. We understand that there's some misunderstanding happening there. Let's take you live to the grounds.
I mutaka a guy is debate. I say you free line. I don't know say the chief mom. If you line, if you don't bring son of her, because of the kill. I'm a man in Toba.
If you're watching us from wherever you're watching us from, you know, we have one Ghana. So let's ensure peace prevails in this country. This is our beautiful land. Without Ghana, there is nowhere we can actually call home. So let that be our guiding principle as we step out to exercise our democratic rights today. Let that be your guiding principle as you go out. But I was earlier telling you about the Nkwanta South, where we saw that policeman engaging with some officers there about, the misunderstanding there. Nkwanta South is in OT region, and it was carved out of the Volta, a combination of the Volta and part of the Northing. Now, if you look at it in 2020, John Mahama and the NDC won there with 60.8%. The NDC, the NPP and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, were second with 36.7. In actual vote, 18,174 for the NPP, 30,084 vote for the NDC. There was a turnout of 82.9%. So we'll be keeping an eye on it to see what actually happens there. But in the same region, if you look at the Akan constituency in 2020, John Mahama carried the day with 20,727, representing 63.9%. The NPP, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, polled 11,252, representing 34.7% in the Akan constituency. We have a reporter there. We'll be touching base with our reporter to bring you details of exactly what happens in Buem, in Akan. Now, Buem is currently being held by the NDC's, an NDC MP there. And, if you look at the turnout in 2020, it was 77.1. John Mahama got 29,858, representing 76.3. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo got 8,696, representing 22.2. But if you look at the parliamentary for the same constituency in 2020, for Buem, Kofi Adams, who was, a PA to Jerry John Rawlings, the late Jerry John Rawlings. He is the current member of parliament. He polled 18,522, representing 71.8%. And the MPP's Lawrence Aziale got 6,843, representing 26.5. So how will this be this time around? I mean, we will keep an eye on it. You also have Biakuya in the same, OT region. And Biakuya in terms of parliamentary, Daniel Kosina of the NPP polled 10,827. The NDC's Kwajo Abuaje secured 19,095 votes, representing 63.1. Now, if you look at the presidential then for the OT region in 2020, still in OT, and we bring it down to constituencies in 2020. You look at Biakuya in presidential, John Mahama polled 21,463, representing 69.9%. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo polled 8,003, representing 26.1%. So who will carry this day? There are several other factors that we'll be bringing up to bear as we move on this program, Your Race to the Jubilee House. Will tell you exactly what could probably influence voting there. We'll get all of that to you here. Now, if you look at the Karachi East as well, it's also in OT, and we have an eye there. We'll be bringing you what exactly happens there. But in Karachi East, in 2020, John Mahama polled 22,675, representing 57.4%. And Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of the NPP polled 16,335, representing 41.4%. Looks like that could be one of their best performances in this particular region. But what exactly will happen today? in this particular constituency, Kratchi East. It will be interesting. But it will be interesting also to consider the parliamentary race there in 2020. The NDC's Wisdom Gidisu carried the day with 20,364 votes. The NPP's Michael Yao Jato got, 19,837, representing 49.3. So this was a close battle between the NPP and the NDC in the parliamentary race. How will the 2024 be? You have to keep an eye on Kratchi East because of the closeness of the contest there in 2020. Quite an interesting place that you might want to understand what will be happening there. But again, let's see exactly what probably influenced the voting there in 2020. So let's check whether or not poverty incidents had any role to play there in the way they voted in 2020. Okay, so the data we have for poverty was in that of 2015. If you look at Kratchi, quite, there was a bit of poverty, not too poor though. So could that be the issue? Some 50.61%, severity being 9.7%. But you can better do some sort of analysis if you compare with another constituency. For example, we know that the Akan constituency was won, by the NDC with some huge gap. But if you look at the incident, 66.77 with severity being 16.77. Could poverty then have been a factor? You might want to say, yes, because of the severity of poverty in Akan in 2015, which of course then led on to the 2020 election. So that these could probably be the difference, that in the Kratchi East there wasn't a bit of poverty there, so maybe government policies were working there. That's how come in the parliamentary race in 2020 in Kratchi East you probably saw the closeness of the contest there. But how will it be this year? Let's see if we can probably see exactly what if we could see some semblance of a sort. For poverty incidents in Kratchi East in 2021, it has now dropped to 41.20, with severity being 41.60. But look, a bit of some improvement there. If you want to see the difference, see the color here. It's quite, it's becoming more like a plane. But if you go back to 2015, in the same Kratchi East, where there was that tie of that closeness of a contest, poverty was quite endemic there. But if you come to 2021, there's been some improvement here in Kratchi East. So would you want to then say that because of the improvement there, can it reflect in the election today? Well, we are here to see. So by close of day, we will see whether or not, what we do understand by the data, it could probably prove something right there. So that's it is there for you. But let's also look at the trend of voting in this particular, this particular constituency there, 2020. Let's bring you that. Let's see if we can get you the trend of how this particular place has voted. If you look at it in presidential, it tells that their voting pattern is that of NDC. The MPP who has won once, in terms of parliamentary in this constituency. So it looks like it's a constituency that tilts towards the NDC. So you might want to, based on this, to say, well, the NDC is likely to carry the day here in this constituency. This is how they vote. We'll bring you much more from this particular constituency. You go to Kratchi West, you have Helen A. Ntoso. She won with 51.0%. Justice A. Mensah had 49, percent. Okay, so let's take you to the Ashanti region and join Nana Yaojima, who is joining us from Akurem in the Asawase constituency. We understand there is an incident there. Nana, tell us more.
Polling station within the Asawase. Welcome to Akurem polling station within the Asawase constituency. As you can see, there are a number of people in the queue trying to get to the area to cast their ballots. Now, this is the polling station where the NPP candidate for the Asawase constituency, Manaf Ibrahim, is supposed to cast his ballot. Not long ago, he walked into the polling station, joined the queue, and he's in the queue waiting for his turn to cast his ballot. There were some people who wanted him to skip the queue, but according to him, there are a number of people in the queue, and if he would have to skip, all of them would have to understand for him to skip this queue. Also, another concern that he raised is that he saw his Malam in there, his Islamic leader in there, and for him to ensure that respect, he gives the maximum respect to the gentleman, he has to take his turn before Manaf himself is able to vote for. So he decided to join the queue, go through the process, and cast his ballot. Unfortunately, there were some NDC supporters here who were not happy with that, so they protested, and there was some chaos within the polling station. It took the intervention of the security personnel who is stationed here to ensure some calm in here. Already, Manaf is still in the queue. He has made his way to, a little closer to the ballot area where he'll cast his ballot. We want to try get to him and get his reasons for joining the queue and trying to go through the process before he casts his ballot. And this created some sort of chaos in the area. Mind you, Asawase is a stronghold for the National Democratic Congress, and NPP is working so hard to win votes, maximum number of votes in the Asawase constituency. Already Manaf Ibrahim himself says he's poised to win the constituency. So obviously, there's supposed to be some tension within the Asawase constituency. Manaf, welcome to Joy News.
Thank you.
You came not long ago and you refused to skip the queue. Why?
Well, I met people in the queue and they didn't give that privilege. So once that's the rule, they are without exceptions. So in the electoral guidelines, they didn't say that if you are the candidate, you skip it. If they did, I would have skipped it. But once they said everybody follows the queue, that's why I'm following the queue.
Now, this created some chaos within the polling station. You observed it. You were the main target of that tension within this area. How do you feel about it?
Oh, no. What actually happened was that there was an NDC guy with the voters register in the queue talking to voters. And now I didn't even mind him, but he told the security officer on duty to tell me to skip the queue and vote and go. And so that's when I raised the concern that if he is not an agent, then he shouldn't be in the queue talking to voters. So they should take him off here, or I will. And that is what created the chaos. It was just getting him out of the queue. It's not about me. I've always voted here. This is my 4th time voting in this polling station. And not on one occasion have I skipped the queue. I live just about 120 meters from this polling station. And so that's what I've done all the time. I've always followed the queue to vote.
A lot of people believe that since you lived here, you grew up within Akurem. It's one of the areas that is believed that you will be able to win. You think it's a deliberate attempt to disrupt your victory if possible?
Oh, no, I don't think this is just a minor incident. It will not disrupt anything because all the people in the queue would vote anyway. They've already decided before coming here. I have lived here with them. Even the guy creating the chaos, I have lived with him here. He knows it that once I'm on the ballot paper, another person won't win. He knows it. He's just trying to catch the eyes of his paymasters for whatever reason. But my worry is that the implication of what he has been resourced to do is lost to him.
Let's educate our viewers. Asawase is flagged as one of the flashpoints within the Ashanti region. For that reason, there was a lot of security personnel concentrated within the Asawase constituency. A lot have been done by the Regional Security Council to ensure that Asawase is safe, and that will affect the whole of the Ashanti region, that's the security situation in the Ashanti region. Let's talk to Manaf and ask me about his observations so far. His guys are on the ground. He himself have been to some of these polling stations. His observations so far, security concerns among others.
I think it has been generally peaceful. There are suspicions that some people are organizing thugs to disrupt the process in some of the polling centers later in the day. We've not seen that yet. From morning till now, we've not received report of any incident at all. Even what we've seen here is just minor. It has nothing to do with the process itself. It just has to do with one recalcitrant person around the polling station. So I am expecting that it will be peaceful. We are trying to take away the tag of the flashpoints on the constituency. So it's been generally peaceful everywhere I've been to, and I think it will be same till evening. Nothing will happen. We are all from this constituency, so both of us contesting know each other. Nobody will trigger.
Confident of victory?
It's clear. It is clear to everyone in the constituency. I'm sure if you ask around, you will know. It's clear. And in the evening, you may play back this tape to your viewers.
Thank you very much. So over 170,000 electorates are expected to cast their ballots in the Asawase constituency. As I said earlier, Asawase remains a stronghold of the NDC in the Ashanti region. It is the only constituency within the Kumasi metropolis that the NDC have been able to win every single time there is an election in the Ashanti region. Presently, Muntaka Mubarak is the member of parliament for the constituency, and he is the person that Mr. Manaf Ibrahim is hoping to unseat in this election. We've done some rounds within the constituency. Almost every place we've been to have so far been peaceful. The only situation that we met on the ground earlier is that there are some polling stations who started the election late because of malfunction of the BVDs. But each time that these things happened, the election officials were able to resolve these issues and have ensured that the process have been peaceful so far. As you can see, there are people who are going through the process. Some are in the queue. It gets to your point, your name is verified and goes through the process, issued a ballot paper, the verification process is done. As you can see, there's someone doing a facial verification there. Immediately this verification process is done, the person takes the ballot paper and moves straight to the screens, one for presidential and one dedicated to the parliamentary election, casts the ballot and leaves. But unfortunately, there are some people who have masked up within the polling station, and these are the people that the security agencies are trying to get them out of the area. The police have the security person here has continuously announced that there is no need for these people to stand and watch on. Earlier, the security directions issued by the Regional Security Council, they were emphatic that massing up in these polling stations are not allowed. They advised people against it, but unfortunately, there are some recalcitrant people who have flouted this directive and are still stationed within the polling stations even after casting their ballots. But so far, most of the places that we've been to in the Asawase constituency are calm, but for the little scuffles that we saw here earlier.
All right, so that's from Nanaya Ojima, who is in the Asawase constituency. We'll be keeping an eye on that one because we know how critical that constituency is in the Ashanti region. So we'll have our eyes there. We'll also be taking you across the country to gauge the mood of how elections are ongoing. About 4 hours into the election day today. We will be bringing you all of that here on your election headquarters. But we'll try and also immerse you in how the trends have been over the years, so that in every constituency you can do some analysis to say, can this be the case or not? Where can this election tilt, towards this time around? All the parties say, the two leading parties say it will be their election. The other parties say it will be theirs as well. So who will carry today? By the end of, by 12 midnight today for parliamentary, we will know a majority of the results coming in. But trust your election headquarters to get you all of the fact and all of the results coming in. We will also be touching base with Studio 997 as well. My colleague Benjamin Akapo is there with some of our panel members. They will be talking about this particular election to see, to analyze the information that are trickling in as we gather them here. But let's look at how the presidential elections have been, over the years. Let's start from, say, in 96 and do what the presidential results have been. For example, let's see the Greater Accra region. In 1996, if you consider the Greater Accra region, the NDC led by Jerry John Rawlings won it by 658,266, representing 54%. The John Agyekum Kufuor led NPP polled 528,484, representing 43.3% there. So this was how the election panned out in the Greater Accra region in 1996. Let's check, 2000, the first round. How did it go in 2000? First round in 2000. John Agyekum Kufuor led MPP, then turned it from green in 1996 to blue in 2000, round one. John Agyekum Kufuor polled 574,737, representing 52.5%. Remember that in 2000, the NDC, or the Jerry John Rawlings' tenure had ended. And so the NDC chose Professor J.E.A. Atamils to then be their flag bearer. And he polled 467,017 votes, representing 42.7%. But that was the round one. What about the runoff in 2000? In 2000, the runoff, still, John Agyekum Kufuor even increased his vote to 631,506. Let's see if actually there was an increase there. Okay, yes, of course, there was an increase because he had 574,000 in the first round, and then in the runoff, he increased it to 631,506, representing 59.9%. JEMLs dropped then to 40.1. But let's take you to Panta now, because we understand that voting delayed in that particular polling station. What is the details or the latest from that polling station? Let's bring you details from the ground and join our reporter there.
Here at the Pantime Basic School, where about 6 polling centers or polling stations, I beg your pardon, have been crammed into this center. Some 2,584 voters are expected to cast their ballots by the time voting ends at 5 p.m. later today. After about 2 hours of voting, it's been a rather seamless, uneventful exercise as the EC would want, but for some delays in some of the polling stations here, and we're going to get an explanation as to why the process delayed here. Now, Modesta is one of the presiding officers here. I believe this is supposed to be polling station B?
50A.
50A, right. So why did the process delay today?
Okay, so when the ballot boxes arrived, we realized that some of the ballot boxes, some of the seals were not on it, and so the party agents were not in support for us to open it, so it led to a bit of a delay. But after our consultation with them, we all agreed that we'll open it, we cross-check the contents of the box. If we are okay, then we start. So we opened it, we all checked the ballot papers, the contents, and we started.
But it was not for every polling station here that...
So all the 6 polling stations here had the same issues.
Right.
Yes, please.
Is there any explanation for this?
So we are yet to hear from our superiors, which by close of day, we are sure to get that.
But it has been resolved?
Yes, please, it has been resolved, and voting has been ongoing.
Right. So as you heard from her, that's basically what happened here at the Pantime Basic School. And as I indicated earlier, 6 polling stations crammed into the center. 2,584 registered voters are expected to cast their votes by close of day today. For Joy News, Victor Achutamaklu.
So that was from Pantime there, and do stay with us because we have all the latest from the grounds for you here. So I was talking about the Greater Accra region and how it has voted since 1996. I was on 2000 in the runoff. Kufuor then increased his vote to 631,506 there. Let's look at what happened in 2004. Because that in 2000, John Mills also dropped to 40.1%. What happened in 2004 for the Greater Accra region? Look at it. There you are. President then, because John Agyekum Kufuor was going into his second term, he polled 910,159. JEA Mills then polled 811,883. But in actual, in percentage-wise, John Agyekum Kufuor dropped some percent there, and JEA Mills then appreciated in percentage-wise. Let's compare it to 2000, how the region voted. In 2000, look at it. John Agyekum Kufuor had 59.9%. JEA Mills had 40%. But is that how it is in 2004? Let's see what happened. Okay, so John Agyekum Kufuor then came to 52% from 59.9%. So a drop of 7.9%. That was huge there. But the MPP still won the Greater Accra region in 2004. How did the region vote in 2008 in round one? In 2008, JEA Mills then flipped, the Greater Accra region. Let's see, yes, JEA Mills flipped it for the NDC, because then the MPP, John Agyekum Kufuor, had also finished his tenure, and they had changed for a new candidate, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, but the NDC maintained their candidate. He then polled 870,011 votes, representing 52.1%. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo also polled 768,465, representing 46.0%. This is how the region voted in round one in 2008. You remember that in 2008, we went for a runoff. So how did the runoff go in 2008? In 2008, JEA Mills then secured 953,086 votes, representing 54.4%. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo polled 798,556, representing 45.6%. But let's hold it and compare to what happened in round one in 2008. We see this, 953,004 JEA Mills. Did that happen in round one? Okay, so JEA Mills appreciated in vote in the runoff there. If you look at it in 2008, there you have it. JEA Mills appreciated in vote in the runoff. Did Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo appreciate in vote in the runoff in 2008? In the first one, he had 798,556. But let's take you to one of the polling centers, of course, in the central region, because that is where this particular person we're talking about comes from. Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman. She's the running mate to John Dramani Mahama, and she has cast her vote. And when she finished casting the vote, she spoke to the media. Listen to her.
As in our family home. And so, again, I recommend also. Not catching the average, Manhumba. Professor Badi, Zamadan. Process for me. The whole Zama is Diaba. Mama Philip, the man of 40 some of the day, did you have queen? Never said a catch one of if you won't draw what I do about you. You be home. If you are one bank account, income was so on the top of 5 no to keep. Which now the man 2 hours. Young chair example. 2 hours maybe a key. You meant to reach my fear. Out on as I have so if you look over nature. Nay, what a cube. No more being a I don't American said, I'm going to be a sister. How do you know? I don't know about it. Prof. I go a crab, who goes to you. How much are you? The mother said, when I was saying, go to restaurant. You know, I register could see this. I register outside the vote. We also vote. We are now catching this. Necessary to what happened. Baba Karoba. Obaha is in Lazi. I'm sure you're going to very ever. George and do.
So that was the running mate to John Romani Mahama. And she says, well, she thinks that everything is going on smoothly. If it will go the way she's seen it, then of course, things will go very perfectly for the elections. She says people have not queued up too much at the election because in the past, they can come and queue for 2 hours without voting. And so this time around, I think they are taking their time to come. But she thinks all is okay at that particular polling center. But let's cross over to Adenta, where my colleague Kweku Asante is joining with latest from the Adenta constituency. Kweku, what can you tell us from where you are?
So it's really been an interesting scene so far in the Ayawaso West Wogon, in the Adentan constituency, where more and more people are coming out in their numbers to vote. I can tell you, Brace, it's really incredible the numbers that are turning up to vote so far. Almost all the polling stations that I have visited so far have had hundreds of people in queues waiting to vote. The process has been going on quite seamlessly, largely because of the arrangement the Electoral Commission has done in terms of dividing the number of polling stations. That is what caused a little bit of a skirmish this morning, because people went to their normal polling stations, but it had been broken down into multiples, 4, 5, 6, and they were not so sure which of them they were going to vote. And so it took quite a while for the electoral officials to be able to take them through that process and get them to appreciate that this is exactly where you have to go, or that is the space that you have to go. And that was the challenge a little bit early in the morning. In fact, early on when I did my live from the Adentan community, and that is, it's a place called Adenta community within Adenta itself, just around the estate. That confusion was very rife, but that has been sorted out. And when you go out to all the polling stations, it's generally been peaceful. People have been going out there to go and vote. The two leading candidates in terms of the parliamentary election in Adentan are Ademu Ramadan, the current member of parliament incumbent, and Akosua Menu, the NPP parliamentary candidate. Both of them have cast their vote so far. Akosua Menu cast a vote at NTHC polling station in Nigerian Ghana, whilst Ademu Ramadan also cast his vote at Little Roses, also in Adentan. And the two candidates have all been telling me in an interview that I've granted them that they are really confident that they are going to win. And not only are they going to win, they are going to win comfortably. It was first Akosua Menu who cast her vote just a little around 10 a.m. And she said the process had gone on smooth for her so far. There had been no reported incidents. There had been no incidents. There had been no issues at all. And other things have been going on well, except with a little isolation of an alleged attack on some of her supporters and some of her security details, as well as some persons who are working in her campaign team, allegedly by persons affiliated to the NDC. When I got the member of parliament, when he also cast his vote at Little Roses, I did put to him that question as to whether or not he was aware of any attack sponsored by the NDC or himself. And then he said that was not the case, and that Akosua Menu was only preparing the grounds for her defeat and was simply trying to find ways to blame when she loses in the few hours that will come. But also, this is a bellwether constituency, and this is a constituency that usually predicts who wins the election. In particular, when it comes to Adenta, there's been no single MP who has been retained twice, at least for the last 4 or 5 elections. You go once, you lose. Either you lose the general election or you lose your party's primaries. And that is the odds that Ademu Ramadan is coming up against in Adentan, and that is what he is trying to beat. And he told me in that interview that he is very confident that he is going to get that and he's going to win. Ultimately, Akosua Menu is not going to be able to unseat him in Adentan. And Adentan is a very large constituency. In very parts, it borders Medina constituency in some parts. It borders Ayawaso West Wogon in some parts. And so there are places where there will be a polling station here, that is Adentan, and then the next polling station will be Medina, or the next polling station is Adentan, the next polling station is Ayawaso West Wogon. And so the parties have been working in silos. They've been trying to work and try and see that they can match their energies to ensure that they get to the point where things are going on. There's a polling station just behind me, and the queues are just not there. Just people coming in, they come, they cast their vote, they leave, they come, they cast their vote, they leave. Because this particular polling station in particular has been divided into two, and I've been there early on and spoken to the presiding members and other persons who tell me that the process has been going on smoothly. So the story in Adentan Brace is that a lot more people are turning up. They are casting their votes. People are telling me that they are confident their respective candidates are going to win, and that ultimately this election is going to be peaceful. There are not going to be any issues, and so far it's been hours into this. Polling started around 7 a.m. exactly. We are in the 4th hour now. We've gone to multiple polling stations, and there's been absolutely no incident. So, Brace, that is the story from the Adentan constituency, where it's just going smooth, and the candidates, particularly for the parliamentary election, are telling me they're confident they are going to win.
Okay, all right. Kwekwasanti, grateful for that. So that's the Adentan constituency. Let me then run you through how this constituency has voted over the years. Let's start from the trend and see how the Adentan constituency vote. Look, from 2004, in terms of presidential, the NDC has won it 4 good times. The NPP has only won it once in 2016. When it comes to parliamentary, 2000, it was held by 2004. It was held by an NPP candidate, but the NDC took it in 2008, maintained it in 2012. The NPP came back in 2016. I think that is with their former communications director, and the NDC took it back in 2020. So who will win it? The NPP has won it twice. The NDC has won it thrice. Will the NPP make it thrice, or will the NDC make it the 4th time? Let's see how that happens. But in 2016, in the Adentan constituency, Mohammed A. Ramadan, representing the NDC, polled some 32,588, representing 48.6%. The MPP, this was the guy I was talking to you about, their former communications director, lawyer Yao Boama Asamoah, he won it by 33,952, representing 50.6%. This is in 2016. Then in 2020, of course, Ramadan won it, with 63,436, vote. Okay. So, I mean, just as the voting is ongoing, there are some instances of, disturbances here and there. One of that happened in one of the constituencies here in the Greater Accra region, Okaikwe Central, and the Ghana Police Service has already released a statement on it. Let's share with you that particular statement. And the statement reads that, it says, calm restored at Ansuruddin Islamic School at Okaikwe Central Constituency in Accra following misunderstandings. It says calm has been restored in the Ansuruddin Islamic School polling center in the Okaikwe Central Constituency, Accra, following some misunderstanding, and voting is progressing smoothly. We encourage the public to remain calm as the police are fully prepared to maintain law and order throughout the process. So that is what is coming from the Okaikwe Central there in the Greater Accra region. And the police say, be rest assured, they are there for you. They will ensure that calm, is maintained throughout the process today. You need to give your backing to the Ghana Police Service. So back to the Adentan constituency, like I told you, in 2020, the NDC maintained Mohammed A. Ramadan. The MPP also maintained Yao Asamoah, who was, their communications director. Now, what happened? The Mohammed A. Ramadan then took it with 63,436, representing 55.9%. The MPP's Yao Asamoah polled 49,255 votes, representing 43.4%. You heard there, Kwekwasanti said, in this particular constituency, you don't win it more than once. So this is in 2020. Let's go back and do, let's build up from 1996, for example, and see. Okay, all right then. I'll come back to the Greater Accra region and do more on this. But let's take you to Wa, where my colleague, everybody's reporter, Rafiq Salam, is joining us with details. Rafiq, what more can you tell us? What's happening with the voting process in Wa?
The voting process in the Wa Central constituency is going on peacefully. I am currently at the MA Daily Market at Zongo, where there are 2 police stations right here. And so just behind me, there's the police station A and then B, and each of them had a voter population of a little over 400. And so voting here is going on peaceful. Just some few minutes ago, the Wa Mayor, Alaji Safu passed by to cast his ballot right here. And then earlier, I was at the Wa High Court, where the overlord of the Walla State, now putting the Philippine reform, also came out to exercise his franchise. And then also the Wa Central Member of Parliament, Dr. Rashid Hassan Philippo, he also voted in that particular police station, and that was where they cast their ballot. And so, to a very large extent, voting in the Wa Central constituency is really peaceful. Some few irregularities that were recorded at some of the polling centers because they were not able to start right on time. Some of them started after an hour because of faulty DB machines, and then also some they went into the polling stations and then without the the electoral register. And so it's come here right here in the Wa Central constituency where over 99,000 people are expected to cast their ballots in over 1,200 polling centers here.
Okay, that's Rafiq there. So grateful that nothing is happening. What about the security and the participation of the political parties? What can you tell us about that?
In terms of security, they are actually very present right here. A couple of days ago, loads, trucks of police personnel were moved into the one municipality and also to the region at large. And so every police station, you can see at least 2 security personnel manning this police station. So there's heavy presence of the security personnel right at the police station. And also in terms of electoral observers, a lot of them are here, and also the party agents were represented here in the one municipality of the Upper West region. There are 4 candidates who are vying for the parliamentary seat, and so all of them are having their party agents. In most of the polling stations, they're having their party agents right there. And so here in Upper West region or in one municipality, it's really peaceful. Everybody's present right there.
We're grateful for the people there to ensure that peace is maintained there. We're grateful to you. That's Rafiq Salam there talking about Wa Central. So I put it up, for you, so you are able to see how far this particular constituency has been voting since 1996. If you look at 1996, the NDC won the parliamentary seat there with some 25,708 votes, representing 59.1%. That was by Mumuni A. Seidu. The MPP was represented by C.N. Lugri. He polled 11,657 votes, representing 26.8% there. But what happened in 2000 in the parliamentary race there? In 2000, the NDC still won it. Seidu M. Abudu, won it with 20,648 votes, representing 53.1%. The NPP's Clement Al-Eledi also polled 38,914, representing 33.4%. The NDC still carried the day there. What about 2004? Let's see whether or not there were some changes. Still no changes. Abdul Rashid came in here. You remember this man, Rashid Pelpo. He came in there in 2004. He won it with 21,272, representing 51.3%. And the PNC's Bernard M. Mbatayela polled 29.6%. But let's see something. Is it that but let me take you to 2008. I'll come back to this particular constituency and look at the analysis, whether the party is gaining or is dropping some vote. In 2008, the NDC's Rashid Pelpo still won it. Rashid Pelpo, as we speak, is still a member of parliament. He won it with 25,428 votes, representing 57.5% there. The NPP's LDC and Lugri got 17,309, representing 39.2%. This is 2008. Rashid Pelpo won it. Let's go to 2012. Rashid Pelpo again, he won it by 28,149%, representing 46.7%. Tahiru I. Mumin then represented the MPP. He polled 22,304, representing 37.0%. This is 2012. What about 2016 in the same constituency? Rashid Pelpo again won it by 25,319. But this time around, Tahiru Momen gave Rashid Pelpo a run for his money, because if you look at it, Pelpo secured 25,319 and Momen also polled 24,748. So, I mean, if you do the differences here, it wasn't much. So if you look at it, he won it, Pelpo won it by just a percentage point. That's interesting there. But let's see whether or not something changed in 2020. I told you that Pelpo is still the member of parliament. Here, Pelpo then widened the gap because he polled 39,542. You know why? The MPP changed their candidate and brought in Hajia Awudu. She polled 33,340. But let's do something right from 1996 and find out whether or not a party has been appreciating or has been reducing in vote. The NDC in 1996 got 25,718. The MPP, Lugri, got 11,657. This is 1996. What happened in 2000? In 2000, the NPP changed candidate and brought in Eledi Clement. He polled 38,914. The NDC polled 20,064. Well, okay, I think there's a bit of a challenge here. But let's look at 2004 and see the vote here. Rashid Pelpo polls 21,272. Bernard M. Mbatayela of the PNC polls 12,280. But let's then use Rashid alone. He started from 2004. He polled 21,000 in 2004. What happened in 2008? Did he increase? He polled 25,000. So he added more than 4,000 or around 4,000 to his vote in 2004. Then Ledisian Lugri came back again in 2008 for the MPP. He secured 17,000. Now, I want to go back to when Lugri contested the parliamentary seat. Let me see. Okay, this is 1996. He had 11,000 there. But in 2008, he polled 17,000. So he had added 17,000. Well, let me take you to Yendi constituency because the MP for the constituency, Farouk Aliu Mahama, just voted. And he's been speaking to the press. Watch this.
Morana. Kiku chwele. Kasana vimo igala. Kasana vimo igala. Kasana vimo igala. Jika Mahama. Jika Mahama. Jika Mahama. Ayi zawo. Zawo. Get the lie.
Yes, in 2020 we had over 60 to 62%. I'm looking at increasing my votes from 40,000 to 50,000 votes, and that's an increment of between 65 to 70%. And inshallah, we're going to get it today, and we'll definitely make them happy.
Yendi is part of the hot spots. Do you think Yendi will disappoint people who will expect anything to happen?
It's the expectation of everybody. Everybody thinks Yendi is a camp place. We have an entire the overlord of Gabon who always wants to preach peace. And I believe myself and Jofa and the independent candidate, we have a lot of respect for the chief and the Yana. And I will not expect anybody to do anything untoward. But as it is, what it is that the security services are there to make sure they calm things up. I don't think anything will be a problem, but we are watching to see the counting time to see what will happen. But I think the security agencies are on top of issues and we should be fine. Yes.
Okay. All right, so that was the MP for Yendi Farouk Aliyu Mahama there. So I just pulled up Yendi constituency to help you appreciate the numbers and what the picture looks like for this constituency. It is in the northern region. If you go back to 1996, the MPP won it. But let me then look at the trends for you so that we don't really suffer with what happens in Yendi. Look at it. Yendi is strictly an MPP seat. It's a blue seat. But the NDC has won it once in terms of parliamentary. In 2008, the NDC candidate won it by 37.4%. But let's try and break it down for you. So in 1996, this is how it went. Malik A. Yakubu of the MPP polled 13,743, representing 59.8%. So this is how Yendi. So Yendi is MPP. Will it still hold? For it, at the end of the day, we will know. But let's take you to Ekwapem. Sami Awoku is voting there. Let's join it and give you the live feed. All right, so apologies for the bad feed there. We'll go back to it, but let me still stay with Yendi for you. So Malik got 13,433 in 1996 to win it with 59.8%. The NDC's Suleimana Idrisu Jr. polled 7,000, representing 30.9%. In 2000, Yendi was still blue. Alhaji M.A. Yakubu polled 22,264, representing 47.4%. But you know what? In 2000, John Ajikum Kufuor's running mate was Alhaji Aliyu Mahama. He was from here, Yendi. Yeah? So their candidate got at 47.7%. Isa A. Bukari secured 8,528 votes, representing 38.3%. This is in 2000. In 2004, did anything change? We've seen already that this is a blue constituency, but are they appreciating in vote? So in 2004, Alhaji M.A. Yakubu, incumbent, secured 15,302, representing 53.5%. The NDC Suleimana Baba secured 10,779. But let me go back to 2000 and see whether or not there's been a jump there. This is 2000. Alhaji Yakubu polled 22,000 here, 264. NDC's Isa Bukari polled 8,000. Did it change in 2004? Okay, so Alhaji Yakubu dropped in terms of vote. He polled 15,000 here. Remember, in 2000, he secured 22,000. Here, he got 15,000. The NDC then, appreciated in vote. But let me take you to North Town constituency. Samuel Okujuto Ablakwa has just voted. Let's watch him.
Let me greet my people. Morning.
Someone, you could possibly describe as his wife, depending on how they are reacting together. I think he's just done an introduction of the lady I'm talking about to some of the electorate there. He has his hands around a woman, an elderly woman, and they're having their chat there. The woman is clapping for Samuel Kuchota. I don't know what he told her to make the woman clap for him. But I'll take you to Bole constituency. You know what? If I take you to Bole, of course, I'm sure you know why I'm taking you there. John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, former president and leader of the NDC, flag bearer of the NDC in this election, is in his family home. He's coming to pray at his father's grave. Wow, that's a solemn ceremony there. And Maxwell Akbaba is with him. So we will be taking you there live for you to see what's happening. So here we are. We are there at the family house now. Let's listen in to what is happening there. So what you can see.
Yeah, Brace.
Okay, I think Maxwell has already started speaking. Let's listen.
Bole is the hometown of former President John Mahama and NDC presidential candidate John Mahama. He just arrived here at his family home, like you rightly mentioned, Brace. And in your shots, you can see the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, Sulemana. You see Sulemana standing very close to his car. The people gathered here are waiting for him to get down from his vehicle. But very close to, you can see already some family members are gathered here. And we were told he'll be praying here before moving to the Bole polling station, Bole DA polling station, where he'll be casting his ballot in some minutes. John Mahama has in the past shared fond memories of his father, E.A. Mahama, a former Minister of State, a former regional minister for the Northern Region, MP for West Gonja. Interesting fact that he has put out there in the past. Yesterday I was sharing that interesting history of facts that he actually shared about him and then the NPP presidential candidate, Mahmoud Bawumia. He said his father became a regional minister. His father was a northern regional minister. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's father was also a northern regional minister. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's father attended Tamale Secondary School. John Mahama said his father also attended Tamale Secondary School. John Mahama's father was a one-time Northern Regional Minister. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's father was also a one-time Northern Regional Minister. John Mahama in the shot right now with his daughter Farida Mahama. It's a solemn session here. So we're currently here at the family house of NDC presidential candidate John Mahama, and now at the tomb of his father, Emmanuel Adama Mahama, former MP for West Gonja, a former Minister of State. And NDC presidential candidate is here praying before he moves to the polling station to cast his ballot. This is his first spot of call after entering the Bole Bamboy constituency, where he'll be casting his ballot. After the prayers, he'll be moving there shortly. Still prayers up for Emmanuel Adama Mahama, former MP for West Gonja, John Mahama's father. Let's hear what he's saying now.
Moli iye Mahama Abisho Kanyine biuru matua nene biuru matua kana kafin bolena kuma namba ka bembo kaman eka kosho mbankaran loga ota suku mba bolenfe eman yega bole ne oto fen bole benki ku Accra an mo batancho ne mu pibi batambo aya anzo gabina ena yile ne so gana ke bukura benyal bola bon karamo je simenye benye ndre awo ga bika ba wurum fi abulani shi ebe yile aji bunumuna wo kacho ne bata bika ber penare e bore elur benyal la horma Gbe we kebe twere. Neta kumba bole. Neta kidina mba bole. Amso bi mbo adu anana. Kider mala. Wenye enye neke na ko mama pe nana.
So the member of parliament for Bole Bamboy, Yusuf Suleiman, is going to explain to us what is happening now.
What about when we wait when he's done and they can explain? Shall we explain everything?
So kidir male es kama wo es be woro fe kuru kumulele bole be kumulele kumole amojon mfeni be tamo yile MP neta MP na le yaki president awsi jande bole bi anyibu sew ala sew kuje boro kasa anyina na kantin e boro shinanti na menanti malba e boro shinanti.
Let's get closer to Mr. President. Yeah, Mr. President. So what's the purpose of this visit? How important is this visit on this day?
This is part of our culture and tradition, and many of these are my uncles. They believe that at every opportunity, if you are faced with a crisis or you are anxious about something, you must pray to your father and your ancestors. And so these are prayers being said for my father. This is my father's grave. And so they're saying prayers for him and asking him to stand behind me in the contest that we're going into today.
President Baba, you have in the past shared fond memories about how your father and then the father of the MP presidential candidate were neighbors.
Yeah, we lived in the same neighborhood in Tamale, and they were neighbors and friends. Yeah, so that's true. We grew up together. Yeah, so he knows my family, and I also know his family, all his brothers and sisters, and all my brothers and sisters know each other. That's true.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Okay. We just heard the former President John Mahama. He came to visit the tomb of his father. He'll be leaving here shortly to the polling station where he'll be casting his ballot. But this is his first port of call. Just as he entered the Bole Bamboy constituency. So next you'll be seeing would be our coverage from the polling station. We'll be bringing you up to the minute updates on what will be happening there.
President Yazo! President Yazo!
I no interview now. No interview.
So that was former President John Dramani Mahama, who had gone to the grave of his father to pay homage. And, he speaks about what that means for him. And, of course, his relationship to the flag bearer of the MPP, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. Now, let's take you to Dome Kwabenya, where the parliamentary candidate of the MPP, Michael Kwe Jr., is voting. Let's watch
election officials, and obviously this area is known to be a New Patriotic Party, given the fact that this is an area which is for time dominated by the party. It's been a peaceful exercise at this very polling station, which is closer to the MTN Plaza, but then we understand that there are some more populated areas that Michael Kwe will be touring, because reports were coming earlier pointing to some concerns that were raised about, first of all, some BVDs and changes that was happening as part of the process. So just as you can see in your shots right now, he is then taking his turn to cast the ballot. It will be, you know, a dual exercise. First of all, he would have to cast the ballot for the presidential, and when done, as Michael Quay Jr., I should say, is expected to do that of the parliamentary as well. Obviously, there's no doubt he will be voting for himself, but you never know. This is politics, so you never know what the outcome will be. Now he's going there to check if his name is on the roll again. He's done that already, and now I believe he's taking the ballot for that of the parliamentary ballot, which would then have his contenders also on there. But obviously, we know what the likely outcome will be in terms of his decision. He is the #1 candidate on the ballot, so if he indeed believes in himself, he will definitely be voting for himself. So that's Michael Quay in your shots now, completing the process in terms of voting here within the Dome Kwabenya constituency. So let's try and get close and see if we can get to interact with him, because it's been a very long morning or night, I should say, for him going into the process. So let's get up close and see what the process has been for him. Mr. Michael Quay, you're live on Joy News. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
How has it been for you so far? Early start?
Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Yes, I've been hiding to work on the ground. Yes, but things are going well. I mean, as you can see, the constituency is generally peaceful. And that is the kind of atmosphere that we should promote in order to vote in this country. I mean, after all, what is the point of breaking a brother's head to win an election? There's no point in it. The only problem is, my brother, when you get attacked by someone who shouldn't do what they're doing, you have no choice than to defend yourself. And as we all know, self-defense is a right. So this is where the problem comes, where sometimes you're forced to defend yourself or to complain against somebody who says, I'm a macho man, so I'm stopping you from exercising your right. This is where the problem is. But
why is there so much agitation within the constituency? Do you feel that it's because the race?
No, there isn't. I mean, as for me, I haven't seen. Unless you have seen, maybe you can tell me. Have you seen anything?
Well, you tell me, because you're...
Oh, so there's no agitation. So when you say, why is there so much agitation? That means there is, and I should explain why. But there isn't. I'm just giving a caution, because I'm sure you understand that prevention is better than cure. So we are trying to prevent it in the first place. Vote for who you want. We will count. Then the winner emerges. And that is the will of the people. It's a very simple process, and I believe that the people of Dome Kwabenya will stick by that rule and move ahead accordingly.
This is the biggest constituency in the country, and it will be a litmus test for the national exercise as well. Are you sure of victory for both presidential and parliamentary, and by what margin?
I know. Well, let me start with the litmus test. I'm not sure Dome Kwabenya is necessarily a litmus test, and simply because we have different dynamics here. So maybe in other regions or even other areas in Accra, it may be different. But as for the victory, I'm sure we all understand the word safe seat. Safe seats are in America, safe seats are in Ghana, and safe seats are in UK. Dome Kwabenya is an MPP safe seat. The people of MPP are poised and ready to vote for me. So by the grace of God, I will emerge victorious. And I will give thanks to God. And after that, move to the next thing, which is my duty to work with the people. Work with them to make sure that everything goes well. And I can only do that better with the strength of the President, Dr. Bawumia. And I also believe that it will be one throughout. So Dome Kwabenya is a constituency where MPP always wins both the presidential and the parliamentary. So we are not worried at all. We are just being humble and understand that there's a lot to do always. So we are going to do that for the people.
Tell us, what kind of support are you enjoying from the former Member of Parliament for the area, Sarah Joseph?
Oh, I mean, as for this question, you have to ask her, and I'm sure she can answer it best.
Is there any message? There are millions of people watching us live now. Is there any message you'd want to share with them?
With who?
With Ghanaians who are watching.
Oh, well, let me start with the people of Domi Kwabenya. Say, brighten the corner where you are. So in brightening the corner where I am in Domi Kwabenya, I just want to tell them that everything will be well. Come and vote massively. And then when you do that, you also get the winner that you want. I mean, I know today is not campaigning day, so I'm being very tactical. But I'm sure that with me standing here, they understand the message. So I'll just tell them everything should go well. The people of Ghana, let's just go vote, count, and declare. Very simple process. I think, God willing, the MPs, everything will be known by 12 midnight today. And for the presidential, by the end of Sunday, if it's not known, the inclination will be clear who is going to win. And I believe that the tilt or balance is on our side for the presidential also.
Unconfirmed reports about the BVD issues that happened in the morning. Have you got any updates on it? Because we understand there were some mix-ups.
Yes, I heard all over the country there were one or two. But in fact, if you've noticed, with most of the polling stations were queues in the morning. And it's just only 2 hours. All the queues are cleared. I must really commend the EC. They've done a good job. They've been very quick. The system is working. People who can't find their names are being helped either here or somewhere else. I think everything is running smoothly. So I commend the EC for the good job that they're doing. And by the grace of God, everything will be over by 6 o'clock. Thank you very much.
And of course, that's the parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party in the Domi Kwabenya area, Michael Kwe Jr., who has just told us that the exercise has been peaceful so far within, the biggest constituency in Ghana, Domi Kwabenya. And of course, we all know that it will be a very long process here. Looking at the share numbers that we are looking at, the NPP crossing the 50% mark last year, but it's unclear what the outcome will be. We're just waiting to see at the end of the day, just about 4 more hours for that process to conclude here within the constituency. But he believes and is in high spirit that this will go in his favor. So we wait to see what the outcome will be. But just as you can see, he's just gone through the process, and we're waiting to also catch up with other candidates that are in this race. There's Akurem that I told you about, the NDC's candidate. We're also waiting to hear from the former MP of the area, Sarah Joseph Safo.
All right, so that's Blessed Soga from the Dom Kwabenya constituency, and I just put up how the Dom Kwabenya, vote, and I want you to see, how this particular constituency votes, so that you also make your a quick one. Now, if you look at it from 2004 to 2020, it's a blue constituency. Will it remain same or will it flip this time around? We will only wait to see how this goes. But let me take you to the northern region, where we understand confusion has occurred over the sharing of money by the NPP allegedly at Masjid Taiba polling station in the Tamale South constituency. And my colleague Martina Bugri joining me on Zoom with details. Martina, what more can you tell us?
And so we arrived at the Masjid Taiba polling center at the Tamale South constituency, where we saw some estimates. So drawing closer, what we got was, the information we got was that they were sharing money to women in the queue before they go to vote, to convince them to vote for the ruling party, allegedly. And so the voice from the NDC side decided to protest, and they started the exchange that they were not going to allow the boys to station themselves there and share the money that they were supposed to share. Some were taking between 200, some 200. We are alleged. Some taking 20.
So that's my colleague Martina Bugri there from the Tamale North constituency. That's what I saw there. If it's Tamale North there, then of course this is how they have been voting over the years. So I tend to want to share with you the trend, so you see how it will go. If you look at the trend from 2004, it's a blue constituency. It only switched to an independent candidate in 2012. This is how that particular constituency votes. It's a green constituency. So you expect that, of course, the party can still maintain it this time around. But at the end of the day, that's when we'll know. But just as the voting is happening, a lot more things are happening, you know. We understand in Kintampo, an EC official has been arrested, you know, for engaging in an electoral malpractice. And the police service has released a statement a short while ago. Let's share that with you. It says the Ghana Police Service has arrested an Electoral Commission EC official at Kintampo South constituency in the Bono East region for electoral offences during the ongoing general elections. The suspect, Derry Joseph, is under investigation for issuing about 15 ballot papers to voters that omitted the first presidential candidate at the Ampesika Bayere polling station. So that is what the police is telling us, that this officer issued 15 ballot papers, you know, to some electorate in a particular polling station. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on this and bring you all the details on what is happening here. But let's take you back to Bole Bamboy and go take you to the Bole community, because the flag bearer of the NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama, is, you know, at a polling station there. And my colleague Maxwell Agbagba is still with him. We're bringing you the particular feed to your screens shortly for you to see what the former president is doing, where he is voting, and all of that. We'll be sharing with you exactly how the Bole Bamboy seat is going to be as well. But Maxwell is with an EC official at where former President John Dramani Mahama will be voting. Let's join Maxwell Agbagba now. So, what can you tell us about where you are now, what's happening, and what do we expect in the next few minutes?
So we are here at the polling station where John Mahama will be voting. He should be arriving here shortly. He'll be casting his ballot here. The voter population at this polling station is 431, and so far 171 people have voted. We still have quite a number of them in the queue waiting patiently to cast their ballot. In the next 2 minutes or 5 minutes, the NDC presidential candidate, you know, will be arriving here to also cast his ballot. Hello, sir. I have with me here the presiding officer.
Yes, please.
Let's speak to him. Hello, sir. What's your name?
My name is Kwabena Frimpong, the presiding officer for the district office.
Okay. Can you tell us what the process has been like so far?
Well, since morning it's been smooth. Individual, approximately, it doesn't even take about 5 minutes for the person to complete. Once you come, you have not encountered any challenges with the video whatsoever. It's been smooth and everything has been going on smoothly.
Okay. So you're saying that in less than 5 minutes, if you start the process, you can finish?
Yes, please.
Okay. And have you had any challenges so far, any disagreements with the party agents present here so far?
No, so far the coordination has been smooth. They've conducted themselves very well. We've not had any issues, no issues of intimidation whatsoever. Things have been smooth and it's been moving on smoothly. That's what I can say. Things have been very smooth.
Okay. And the party agents have also not raised any concerns so far?
No, please. No objection have been raised.
Okay.
Yes.
And then for you also, you have everything you're working with?
Everything is going on smoothly as scheduled.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I don't see any security. I don't see any police officer here. Are there police officers here, or because it's
two security officers were assigned to this polling the station, and they are seated right under the canopy over there. Besides, there are other people. I've seen a couple of policemen and immigration staff and other people coming because of the incoming of the former president. He's coming to cast his vote here, so I've seen a lot of security operative around. But two people were assigned here.
All right, so what you can see on your screens now, on your left is Maxwell Agbagba in Bole speaking to an EC official at the polling station where former President John Mahama will be casting his vote. Now, at your right-hand side is Muntaka Mubarak, MP for Asawasi constituency, addressing the press over an issue that happened there. Let's listen in.
They are sharing, calling people and sending Momo to them. But believe me, I know the people of Asawasi are way, way, way above that. And I'm very optimistic that is never going to determine anything.
There was an issue at the Akurem Junior High School polling station where your opponent, Manaf Ibrahim, went to vote. He decided to join the queue, but some of your party members were not happy about he joining the queue, not to influence the process. Has this issue been relayed to you, and what's your immediate reaction?
Well, I don't see anything wrong with that. If he chooses to join the queue, the only hope is that he's not in the queue talking to people. Because, you know, by law, you are not supposed to be voting on, campaigning at the polling station. And usually, out of courtesy and respect, you come and people will say, oh, why not go and vote? So if he decides to disregard that courtesy and join the queue, I only pray that whilst he was in the queue, he was not influencing people or talking to people to vote for him or campaigning. Yeah, other than that, I don't see anything wrong with that.
So you have been going around monitoring the election. How would you describe your assessment so far?
I must say that it's very encouraging. You know, the sun is very scorchy today. The sun is really, really very scorchy today. So, in fact, in the morning when I realized that the sun was scorchy, I had to instruct my lieutenants to rent canopies, all the 215 polling stations, and I'm happy that I've gone around, I've seen that they've mounted the canopies. Yeah, it comes at a cost, but I don't think the cost of the canopy you can compare the scorching sun and the likelihood of people falling sick to the cost of renting canopy. I only hope the Electoral Commission in future will factor this in their budget, because you cannot expect people to come and cast their vote and be in this kind of scorching sun. So because of the scorching nature of the sun too, obviously people are like, let me wait and see. Other than that, you see that the queues are going very fast, and there's no place that I've seen long queue where you think that maybe the process is doing bad.
So Muntaka Mubarak there, he's MP for Asawase, and this is how that particular constituency has been voting since 2004. It's a blue constituency. They've won both presidential and both parliamentary. The NDC has been winning it since 2004. So this constituency is a blue one. Let's take you now to Tamale Central, because the MP for the area, Murtala Mohammed, has been speaking, and he is happy with the processes so far.
Well, so far I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged because I haven't been to any other place apart from here. But I've had, information. We have our agents around. We have people who are giving me information as to how the process is going. And I haven't had any complaint of any disturbances in a way. And for me, that is refreshing. I believe in democracy. I'm a political scientist, and I would want to see our democracy grow and blossom. And because of that, I think that everybody should be happy. Tamale Central, everybody knows it's a hotspot, particularly when it comes to, unfortunately, sometimes, some of these disturbances. Since I came in 2020, we didn't have much problems in Tamale Central. And I have no doubt in mind that we wouldn't have any problem again. And perhaps for me, it has to do with how we are engaging each other as political actors. Myself and the MPP candidate, we've been very good friends. And there isn't any MPP youth group sitting place that I do not visit. Anytime I'm passing, I'll sit and I'll make them understand that we cannot all belong to the same political party. We certainly would belong to different political parties. We have choices, and there are several factors that inform the choices we each make. You may disagree with the choices I make. I may also disagree with the choices you make. But I need to respect your decision. You need to respect my decision. And I think that if everybody had understood politics to be like that, I don't think that would have had some of the problems we have. So I'm very, very happy. I just pray and I hope that it will continue till the counting is done and the coalition is done. Usually, had any registered disturbances anywhere, in Tamale Central this morning, I am very convinced that we wouldn't have say in the evening. Here, the MPP agents and the NDC agents, they're all brothers. I grew up in this area. I mean, almost all the MPP agents here are people I grew up with. Some of them are even my big brothers. And I have never, lost touch in terms of having conversations with them.
Let's take you back to Bole, because the flag bearer of the NDC is arriving at the polling station to cast his vote. Let's go there now.
So you can hear the voices of some party faithfuls and supporters who are gathered here at the Bole DA polling station, where John Mahama casting his ballot. He just stepped out of his car with his daughter, Farida Mahama. The NDC has always won in this constituency, the Bole constituency. In fact, the NPP rarely crosses 30%. The crowd is getting really uncontrollable. It's an uncontrollable crowd. Electoral officials here would give him his ballot paper. The presiding officer just mentioned some minutes ago that the process does not take more than 5 minutes to complete. John Mahama was a member of parliament for this constituency in the year 1996. In the year 2000, and then in 2004, he represented the people of the Bole Bamboy constituency. Became a vice president in 2009, and then went on to become the president of Ghana. The president in 2012.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Like I mentioned earlier, this constituency is a stronghold of the NDC. The NPP rarely crosses 30% here. In the 2016 elections, John Mahama was a candidate. President Akufo-Addo was also a candidate. John Mahama had 76.13% in the Bole Bamboy constituency. President Akufo-Addo had 21.01%. John Mahama casting his ballots now, standing closely to him. This is daughter Farida Mahama. Now the ballots is in there. Presidential ballots now cast by NDC presidential candidate John Mahama. Now parliamentary. The incumbent member of parliament for the Bole Bamboy constituency is Yusuf Sulemana. He is also here
because the same crowd
accompanying him. Once again, John Mahama's daughter Farida Mahama standing closely to his dad as he casts his ballots. Yusuf Sulemana, the member of parliament for Bole Bamboy, now with him. He'll be addressing the press shortly. The crowd is getting uncontrollable here. Who is speaking to himself? Yeah. It's an uncontrollable President Mahama. President Mahama, please want to find out.
All of you should go.
The crowd is uncontrollable, and the security personnel here are trying to get them to move at a distance.
Wait.
President Mahama, please, what's your assessment of the process?
Wait. Let's. It didn't even take 2 minutes. Me buy almost share register na me ding home. And I know I say almost the ballot paper the man and I'm a court here. And to be a come on. Well, Hana Matu Maba Bolenson and I'm a member of parliament or her. And one who said Uncle Finn Omobo say, Mujide say, ye city a winning. And Mujide so say, ye be winning parliament majority, good 1 hour parliament, na presidency also, ye didn't yeah, Yamamre, baby, I mean, fee bole, say, Oko Kun Anase, Bibia Ding, I was say, Wawofo, Oko Bompire, Ewo, Omundaso, into Adia, Omotaye, into maybe I'm a babeto aba, and yet, and then and maybe I'm a babeto ababia, me wa famo, only nine cramofo, maybe a Christoni, I don't nine cramofo. And I call and that's all, not on my President
Mahama, you've been monitoring the process. What's your assessment?
Let's start. Who do we start with?
Yeah, Joy News.
Yeah. Then GTV. IGTV. Okay.
President Mahama, please, what's your assessment of the process so far?
The process, as I've seen it here, it's smooth and very easy. It didn't take more than 3 minutes for me to finish voting in both the presidential and parliamentary. If it's the same everywhere in the country, then I think we'll have a successful election.
Global Info Analytics, EIU, have all predicted victory for you. Are you confident of a parliamentary victory as well?
Yes, there's one election that almost everybody can see what the result is going to be. Other elections have been not as obvious, but with this one, everybody can tell the direction in which it's going. And that's because of the abysmal performance of the Bawumia Akufo-Addo government, the situation of our economy, the hardship people are facing, the increasing unemployment, and all the difficulties Ghanaians are going through. They want somebody who's more experienced, who knows how to run things, to come and take over and rescue this country.
What would be a good parliamentary majority for you?
Absolute majority. It's going to be a hell. I predict more than 150 members of parliament.
It's okay.
The process.
This is GH Police TV. At GH Police TV, we say we are engaging the people for safer communities. I am Chief Inspector Priscilla and Chroma Doba. Keep watching for more updates.
Our opponents have up their sleeves.
What checks are you putting in place to ensure that you, according to your perception, are not cheated out in this area?
We've done that, all that any political party must do. We have trained our agents. We have agents in all the 40,663 polling stations. We've trained them well, and we have monitors, we have observers, all looking out to make sure that everything goes well. After this, normally the voting process is smooth, but if the problem starts coming when you have the counting and the collation. That's where most often the problem starts. I just went to say prayers. In my tradition and our culture, if you are faced with a battle ahead or some tough task or assignment, it is their tradition to go to those who gave birth to you and go and pray and ask them to stand behind you. And so it's normal in our parts here. So my uncles organized the prayers, and they're Muslim. And so they said Muslim prayers on the grave of my father. So unto Mukibi Logan, never Shuli, Ayenji Kumunasara. Foban Kenny Konkunwe and Kabayi lady. Eskimani Kakwe Kakabayo. Foban Kenny Umbronibo EIU, Fixed Solutions, Amber Domestic Opinion Pollers, Global Info Analytics. Eskima Ban Predict for Anyangwe. So, Uncle, very high level of confidence for them. Inshallah. So, Jande, Ambombato Mukibi, I'm so bole big keke, bole bambo a big keke, bon keke land. I am to look at.
All right, so that was former President John Dramani Mahama speaking to the media after he had cast his vote. But let's from him, let's take you to Chebi in the Buakwa South constituency, where President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has also cast his vote. Let's take you in there for you to see exactly how the process went by. And earlier, you saw that wife of John Dramani Mahama was also casting her vote in La Dade Kotopon. But let's take you to Chebi now. So what we see now is the president being taken through the process. So now he's dipping his hand into the ink, I think. Okay, no, he had to put his hand on the DVD machine to be verified. That has gone through. He has now moved on from the DVD machine. He's now, his hand is going to be dipped into the ink. And then, okay, he's been given the ballot papers now. So I guess his hand has already gone into the ink. He's going into the booth now to cast his ballot. He's been given 2 sheets, I think one for parliamentary, one for presidential. He is going to do it now. I see him being mobbed by people that he's exchanging pleasantries. So it means that he's already done casting his ballot. I see someone behind him looking like his wife, the first lady. I see they are interacting with some of the people around them now. He's exchanging pleasantries at the moment, which means that he's already finished casting his ballot. Okay, so I can confirm now that he went there with his wife, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo. They've finished voting now. Okay, so what I see looks like we're now having similar, like a sort of a playback of how the process started to when he was given the ballot paper. So that is what it is. But there's a lot of things happening now. We understand that someone has been arrested in Okankwe South at St. Teresa's School in the possession of a gun. The police has released a statement, so we'll be sharing that statement with you very, very shortly. Here it is now. The police says the Ghana Police Service has arrested one person, Michael Alote, for possession of weapon at the St. Teresa's School polling station in Okankwe South constituency in Accra. He is currently in custody assisting the police investigation into this particular development, and we will keep an eye on this. The police is also from time to time giving updates on the processes so far, and we have an eye at the police headquarters. We'll be bringing that to you as well, whilst we are still bringing you details from the various constituencies across Ghana. It's 12:08 now, so I mean it's been 5 hours since the election started at 7 a.m. this morning. We've done 5 good hours here on your election headquarters. This is race to the Jubilee House. Who will win today? We still are on the process. We've done 5 hours into the elections. This is your election headquarters, both on TV and on radio. We'll take a short break here. We will be back with more. Please don't go away. There's more to come.